introduce the candidates for VP Education. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our candidates. To tell you why to vote for them, and we are going to start with Marion.
Hi, my name is Marion, and I'm hoping to be your next VP of Education. I'm a final year English literature student, and I'm the current editor of The Stag and have been a mentor for the past 2 years. In my opinion, the most important attribute that Vice President of Education should have is communication, and I can guarantee that I have that skill. Working on The Stag as the editor, I have represented it at a local level as well as a national level. Representation, support, and training for the academic reps is really important to me, so I'll make sure that you have the support that you need to represent to your department the needs of the students. Being a student from a new department, I understand that they take the criticism and the feedback from us and they change it every year, and I don't see why that shouldn't be applied across campus. So I'm going to try my best to make academic reps be heard.
Until I say shut up.
Okay. At the end of the day, we're all here to have a good education, and I don't see why we shouldn't get it. So I'm going to be your candidate to support you and represent you to the best of my ability.
Thank you very much. Sam.
Right, I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight, and if you want to stick by your candidates next week, you'll be their life support machine in Mox's hard times. So I'm sure they'll be grateful to you. For those who don't know me, I'm Sam Ratzer, a second year Spanish and Business Management student, and I'm the current Events and Training Officer here at the Students' Union, and I work here part-time. And in the short time that I've been here, I've sort of learned a great love for this place, and it's been a real steep learning curve. To put it out there in basic terms, there's so much that's great about this place, but there's so much more that can be improved. The points laid out in my manifesto here will be a start to what's hopefully going to be an exciting year. I've worked so hard these last couple of years in different roles, putting other people first. I'm most proud of the way I was able to contribute into improving communication across the 2 faculties that I'm a part of. And even though I was unable to spell it correctly on my manifesto, I'll be committed to working hard for all of you. I've been a representative for my fellow course mates in faculty meetings. I've been a representative for all of you as an Events and Training Officer. And I've been an ambassador for this university, both regionally playing sports for the uni, and speaking on your behalf at the Guildford Borough Council. I've been a representative on a national level at the NUS demo and the NUS conference that's coming up. And I've been an international ambassador, as I was one of 2 students in Surrey to go to South Korea last summer. I'd love to do this on a full-time basis. All the passion I have will be for making your education better and your time here at Surrey a little bit sweeter.
Thank you very much, Sam. And finally, James.
Hello everyone. My name is James Wilkinson. I'm a final year economics student, and I'm obviously planning to be your VP Education next year. To put it bluntly, I love this university, I love the Students' Union. I'm the kind of guy who literally ploughs hours and hours into trying to make every student's life better. I've been doing that consistently, and I believe this is my main reason. I am a committed candidate. Secondly, I believe I'm also a candidate there for you with a background of education. I am the person that is looking to go into education in my future. It's my love, it's my passion. I have been doing outreach within the local community, teaching people economics. I've also been doing outreach days within university, trying to improve student perception of university, try and get them to think university is somewhere I want to go. I want to go there and be mobile. That is my second reason. I believe I'm committed to the idea of education and all the values on it. Finally, I believe I'm also someone who's credible in my position I've been academic about for all my 3 years here. During that time I've been doing 2 course consultations when we've changed our structure. I've also been involved in constantly through 3 years of dealing with academic issues. Through this time we've had to deal with lecturers not giving feedback, lecturers poorly teaching. I've helped lecturers with improving their teaching and changing their teaching methods. So I believe I've got a good background to do this at a university-wide level for all of you. My manifesto relies upon 4 key points. I want to improve feedback to make sure it's a minimum requirement, which currently is not. Secondly, I want to improve teaching quality and to provide feedback to students to make sure that their course is doing what they should in their teaching.
We'll have to read about the other points in your manifesto, because there we are, out of time. Thank you very much, our four candidates. Right, to start off with a few questions, which will hopefully discombobulate you, and then we'll take some from the internet and the floor. Some worrying news coming from the deputy running officers. Apparently they're out of donuts. So it could all go wrong shortly. Right, one of the problems with the education grading system, widely recognised by employers, is that UK universities are producing a nation of 2-1 graduates. There are a number of people get first, some people get 2-2s, thirds, however, the biggest chunk by far are reams and reams of 2-1 graduates. Now, this is something that's been debated widely. There's been lots of suggestions made on how you change education grading. I'd like to hear what system the candidates would favour, and anything that they could suggest that would improve this problem of everybody getting a 2-1. First to answer that will be James.
Okay, well, simply, a lot of people fall into that bucket because of just how the university system is designed, examinations is designed, and just like how your course works. But the problem with developing that is really how you learn and what you learn. A lot of work is, it's obviously academic, that's why you're here in university, but lots of teaching is not really guided to help you learn. Quite simply, sometimes you have, say, too many notes on your course slides and it's not easy for you to take in. Or your preparation for your wider learning through, say, reading to your course, or doing work on, say, a computer on a software program isn't guided effectively, and that doesn't help you get higher grades. So essentially, I think it's really the whole teaching aspect that needs to be addressed. Secondly, if this is on employment, about 2-1 graduates as well.
James, this is the problem about grading degrees. The grading system would be the first 2-1, 2-2, third. The majority of graduates are coming in 2-1s. Employers cannot differentiate between them. So what do you think is the best system for grading university degrees?
Okay, so the question was a bit essentially, when you're coming out with it, you are given a percentage. So how you're getting your grade, it won't just be a 2-1 always. Like when employers look at it, it will be a percentage as well. So it's a point of looking at how, like, a 2-1, a person getting 60% on 2-1 is extremely different from someone getting 69 on 2-1. So it's about trying to, basically, as I said before, like, improve teaching quality, improve the guidance of your learning to help you get higher grades. Because there's so many simple things that can be done to improve your teaching and to improve your grades from that.
All right, thank you. Mary?
I think that since the employers are finding it difficult to differentiate between graduates with a 2-1, the examination system, I think the one that is in place is quite good. So maybe students taking extracurricular activities and getting involved and differentiating themselves by doing that rather than just relying on their degree at the school.
So you think the degree and the transcript should show more than just what you've studied? You should have your life-wide learning, so to speak. Sam?
I was very lucky as a student here to have taken that opportunity to go over to South Korea and study over at a university, really high regarded university. The majority of the students there were Americans who work on a grade point average where they're rewarded so much for the extra stuff that they do. They get rewarded for going on summer schools, they get rewarded for going out and I feel like a system that does that and sort of shows you as a well-rounded person in and above what you do as an academic here would go some way to showing that our students here are more than just 2-1 candidates, they're the best candidates for the job. But Surrey's partway to doing that already. Surrey gives you the opportunity to go out and work placements, to show and put into practice that during your time at work, that you're more than just a student. you're a worker and a hard worker at that. So Surrey's halfway there. I think it would just be too much to implement a whole new grade point system, because I think the system we have in the UK is good, because we get students coming here from over the world, because the quality of education here is great.
Thank you very much. Now, something which will hopefully not affect many students, but certainly will dominate your time in office, is the issue of plagiarism. Could the candidates please tell me what they understand plagiarism is, and what they think appropriate penalties for those being caught plagiarising should be, something which is a hot topic at the moment. Sam, I'm going to go to you first.
Having been an academic rep this year, and being involved in what the current Vice President of Education is, I was at an academic rep assembly when plagiarism was the big topic, and they're looking out for people's definitions of plagiarism. It was a very contentious issue, and I was like sat in the chair, really thinking, I'm out of my depth here, I don't really know that. And I believe plagiarism is ultimately when someone's handling something that's not their own. But there's a scale. I think the case should be taken on a case-by-case basis, and a relevant but harsh a relevant punishment. I think ultimately a student should have a first chance, especially within their first year where you're getting used to using new sources. And ultimately, if their first case is so severe that they've shown no remorse, there should be punishments such as being removed from their course or ultimate exclusion.
Marion?
To me, plagiarism is something that you hand in, that you take credit for someone else's work. So in my opinion, the penalty for that should be, first I would want to know, like, if you should give the person the benefit of the doubt and see, like, if they're aware that they plagiarize, because sometimes it might be the case that they don't know how to reference, or especially in your first year when you come here, you just, you do Turnitin, but you don't really know. But I think after you found someone guilty of plagiarism, exclusion from the course possibly, because you can't take someone else's work and put it as yourself.
So we've got a couple of hardliners. James, any advance on exclusion?
Well, back to the question. Plagiarism is essentially submitting work that you're trying to put forward as your own, but it's not. The main issue with plagiarism is really intent, I think, because some people do plagiarise and they don't mean to. A lot of first years will do it quite a lot, and I come across a lot of people still in their final year who do, just mainly because they don't know how to reference. It's not really been told to them very effectively, and the library's website is not the most helpful thing in the world for helping that. So it basically comes down to that. If a student goes out and, say, copies and pastes a journal article, that's intent. If they're not copying and pasting a journal article, they're, say, just missing a couple of references, or they're not saying things like, okay, this came from here, and linking things together in their essay, then that's a very different issue. If you're doing it deliberately, intently, with a large scale, then yes, I feel the penalty should be harsh, and you should be looking at being docked a large amount of your grade, because you're trying to take someone else's work. That's not on. You're here to work and to learn, so that's got to be part of it. That is academic misconduct. But if you're doing it and you don't mean to, it only should be points on your coursework mark.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, back to our agreeable lunch with the Vice Chancellor on Monday. We were talking about the change in government funding. This is not about fees. This is about the reduction in the teaching grant. Now, the teaching grant has been cut to universities substantially, but more importantly, all funding for arts and humanities courses has been removed. That must now be covered out of the tuition fee, whereas there is teaching money for science-based courses. The point the Vice-Chancellor was making was that Surrey will not be cutting any arts and humanities courses, but also science courses are expensive to teach, and they actually cost more than £9,000 a year to teach. So you can see the problem at a university level. You've got a variety of courses, some with funding, some without, and they all vary in actual cost of delivery. What do the candidates think of the portfolio of courses available at Surrey? Do you think it's too big, too small? Are there areas that we should be moving into? Are there areas that we should be moving out of? James?
Essentially, I don't think diversity is bad in education, because people being around with other expertise and other subjects they're learning, it kind of like has a knock-on effect on others and gives them experience. It's really good for creating a diverse student body. If you say cut all the arts here just because the funding was disappearing at national level, then you wouldn't have as good a diverse campus. You wouldn't have, say, people with expertise going into extracurriculars. Say, like, if you cut theatre studies and you then saw a reduction in people being able to do musical theatre society or something because of that, because they haven't got people to like trigger it and get it going, and then other students won't benefit from it. So I think diversity is good for that.
What do you think of the portfolio of Surrey courses? More of some and just less of the other?
I don't think they're less of the other. Education is what you make of it. It's an experience for the individual, and it's a lot of it can be what you want to do and how you want to expand your horizons and expand your opportunities in the future. So some people may look down some degrees, but they're there for the individual, not there for the others.
Thank you. Sam?
I'm quite a lucky student because due to the nature of this university, I'm able to take part in a dual honours course that studies Spanish and business management, crossing two faculties. And if it wasn't for that diversity, I wouldn't be able to put into practice my Spanish skills in a business context. I wouldn't have the opportunity to have a placement in Spain, Argentina, wherever it may be. And that's all because we have such a diversity here. Building on what James says, like, the diversity of courses brings a diversity in the people here, and with things like iFestival we get the chance to celebrate diversity. I feel the main issue should be not where the cut should fall, it's about ensuring the quality all round, and like points in my manifesto will ensure that the quality is there throughout, no matter what course you study. Yeah, I just think Surrey's got it right in terms of where it brings to what subjects the students bring to. Although I did pick up the other day on the Vice Chancellor sort of slipped into a sentence that the cuts will fall somewhere, about how some courses may be downsized, and I think I'll be in a good position having this experience at this early on, at being able to question and maybe get the truth out of, and so that the communication from us, we're able to communicate with you what's happening from right up top to you, because I don't think that's done necessarily the way that gives the students the most respect at the moment.
Don't worry, I handed the act to the VP welfare candidates in the last debate, so they'll be cutting. Marion?
I think that, since like when I came to Surrey, everybody was saying that it's kind of like a research-based university, it's an engineering university, but I'm really happy because I'm the first one to graduate from here with an English literature degree, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here at all. So I'm really happy with the portfolio of Surrey's subjects. I think that the Vice Chancellor did say that some of the degrees, some of the departments will be merging in the future, like the English department with the languages department and possibly some other ones. So they'll be downsizing them and merging them. But I think that the best thing about Surrey is that it has such a subject.
Okay, so would you all like to see more courses? We don't have history, we don't have geography, we don't have a fully fledged medical school.
I would like to see history, because when I came to study this, I wanted to study English literature with history, and they didn't have history, so I would like to see Surrey doing history.
I'd like to comment. A few years ago we tried to buy a medical facility in St George's, and we failed to win that, and so did Rock Holloway, which we did for as well. But like, that was, we tried to buy that as a bridge between undergraduate level biomedical science students and like PhD level, like people going into medicine stuff. So I think things like that, filling gaps where we can actually bring more to students, like people who want to go into medicine after a biomedical science degree, that's a good thing, but in the light of what's happening recently, it's going to be really hard to do that.
Okay, I've got a supplementary now. I know we're going to talk probably a lot about fees. Surrey's announced £9,000 for every course, but on what the VC said, it costs obviously different amounts to teach different courses. So do you think there should be variable fees per course? Marion?
Yes, I actually do think that there should be variable fees for a course, because a person studying engineering and a person studying English literature, obviously they're having different amounts of studying time each week, and like I only have 4 hours a week, and I'm paying the same as a person who has 18 hours a week or something like that. So I think if they charge differently for each course, it would attract more students still coming to Surrey, because £9,000 is quite a lot, and it will have an effect on us.
James?
If it was a pure sense of actually everyone charged what they were getting out of it, I'm not sure how much I agree with that, which would probably get half my course mates trying to kill me in the commerce. It's really hard because everyone will start looking upon people differently. You'd have this kind of thing where you'd have, say, oh, I'm an engineering student, I'm paying £12,000 a year, I deserve to be here more than you, these £6,000 English students. And I think that's really hard to kind of get that across, especially when we all use the same facilities. A lot of the funding goes towards the same cross department things, like all the welfare services, all the support services in the university, all the lecture theatres, the teaching block, accommodation, all that comes from the same pot of money that's quite general. So I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can't see it being a viable option at the moment.
All right, Sam?
Ultimately, like a degree is what a student makes it, and sounds getting excited there. So ultimately, the actual tuition part of your degree only forms a very smaller part of your university life. In terms of the tuition fees go to pay for all the facilities that we have here on campus. They go into contributing towards all the services that welfare guys who are on before us are talking about. So I feel like the majority of your fee is justified. I wouldn't want to see a variation necessarily, because I think such is the nature of some degrees that even if you're an English literature student who has 5 hours a week in comparison to a chemical engineer who has maybe 30 hours a week, both of those degrees have different natures. There's more expectation on you to do your learning, but you're still getting a quality of education. I'd say that instead of homing right in on how much you're paying, it's about the quality of the education that you're receiving. And I feel if our priority for the next few years is about establishing equality, I think it's about student perception as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think that if the students are being charged for all the subjects, we won't be getting as many students coming into the lesser popular subjects as we would get for, like, there would be more people willing to spend £9,000 to get an engineering degree than spend £9,000 and get a dance degree, say. So that's why I think that having variable costs for different degrees would be more sustainable.
But what about the cost of it as well? Because they'd have to try and, sort it out as well internally. It would be really hard to do.
Obviously, they'll have to have different money for the accommodation, because that's not going to change. That doesn't affect tuition fees. Yeah. So, like, if they're paying for their course and they're trying to sustain themselves, practically, I think less people will be coming into a course to pay £9,000 and get less education.
So if that's the case, and less people decide to come for those degrees, ultimately then a course becomes not feasible, and based on the quality, a course will then close. But that's the case. We have to then, and I'll reiterate the point, it's about ensuring the quality, because if a dance degree has the quality there, has the quality of the teaching, people checking up on their teaching, a dance degree could well become, in people's eyes, worth £9,000. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, final one from me, then we'll open it up. This is slightly technical, so I do apologise in advance. Okay, there is a proposal at the moment. There's a lot of students that use proofreading services. Now, proofreading services, when you write a dissertation bit of coursework, you give it a proofreader, they're only supposed to change your spelling and your grammar. However, there is a worry that proofreaders either on purpose or subconsciously improve the quality of the work. So your mark is based on some of the skill of the proofreader. Very popular with students with English is not their first language. The proposal is that students have to submit their drafts as well as their final work for marking. And there's a significant difference between the draft and the final, and that will be taken into account. So how do the candidates feel about the issue of proofreading services and submitting drafts for assessment as well as final work? James.
Personally, I think if you're doing academic work, you should firstly obviously proofread yourself. The decision then is whether you want someone else to look at it. There is services in university that actually can do that, and there should be wider knowledge of that. I wonder how many people here have ever got their work checked in Splash. Splash. Yeah, Splash. Sorry, one more. Splash is upstairs in here. Splash is the one in the library. Yeah, has anyone here actually done that? Gone and taken a piece of work, got it checked? That's about 3-4 hands. Like, it's there for everyone to use. There is stuff here that people can use. If there was more availability on campus for it, people wouldn't be worried about going to dubious sources outside, and we can know what was going on. So there wouldn't have to be that worry or that risk. If we publicise what's available here better, then we can actually get more out of it and more for students.
Thank you. Mary?
I think that the proofreading facilities are, as James said, that if you're going to Splash and getting all the stuff that you can from them, because they are really helpful over there. I've used them. They help you how to structure your essay, they help you how to write.
Yeah, specifically on the issue of submitting drafts for assessment as well as your finished work.
I think that's okay, I think, because especially for people whose first language is not English, it is really hard to write an essay in English and then hand it in, and because you might not be able to get your point across, so possibly, you know.
Okay, Sam?
As part of my Spanish course, it's actually, for some of my written portfolios, we've actually had to submit a draft as a way of showing what changes we've made and sort of enable us at a first stage to actually look at how we've written something and go back and analyse it. I think actually, in terms of getting a quality piece of work, drafting is the way forward, because if you're being forced into checking over, not only will you pick up on the basic spelling mistakes at 9 o'clock on the morning of the day a piece of work's due in, it's an inevitable to bring. I don't necessarily agree with the services that proofreading services, because it gives people an unfair advantage and it gives people with the know-how about how they work around the internet, etc., a heads up. But I use Google Translate, I use Google Books, and these are services that are open to. If it becomes acceptable, if it becomes standard, I see no reason why we shouldn't. Yeah, ultimately what I want to say is that drafting, I think, is a good thing, and hopefully that would improve the quality of the work that people hand in, and people will be proud to take pride in the work.
Okay, just take a few comments on here. Contact hours don't equal education. Somebody else said, I missed it here, variable fees put people off the more expensive courses like engineering and science in favour of cheaper options. International students, we pay different rates depending on the course, so that happens for international students at the moment. Anyway, just had to answer the question along the lines of who is that Scottish man and what does he do? Answers on the postcard is the DROs along with the donuts. Right, any questions from the floor? You're lucky we've got 2 VP educations to go on this tonight.
What do you think the problems are with the learning environment students have to learn? So things like the teaching rooms, and what would you do to fix those problems?
So what do you think are the problems of the learning environment that students have to use, and how do you think that can be improved? Sam?
As a student that's sort of been in and experienced literally every teaching room on campus that we've had, because such as a nationwide degree, we don't have necessarily at home. I believe there are some lecture theatres, especially Griffiths, that last year used to be a real horrible room to have a lecture in. They've done work to improve it, and I was surprised the other week when I had a lecture in there that actually the working environment, it just felt so much more of a positive environment. I believe opening up to the students and giving students a say on particular areas of the student, so particular teaching rooms that they believe isn't conducive to a good working environment, would go some way to identify key areas where we can make good investment. But ultimately, Work is being done in the right areas. But yeah, there's definitely more to be done. So I think opening up to students and sort of students saying, I don't believe this room, because there's definitely some rooms, especially the an AP where the language rooms are, that have no windows, you have no idea of what daylight is like for the 6 hours. I believe there's definitely room to be done for improvement.
I can tell you that the projector in Griffiths cost the princely sum of £65,000. James?
Hopefully money well spent.
Yeah, well, luckily at least Griffiths is well used. I noticed this actually earlier here. I've been to one of the academic rep lunches with DVC, and one of the things I mentioned to him is the importance of teaching room quality. Like, it's not just the teaching room has to be good as well. There's a room in particular which I used to sit in, which was the TV room 2. At the start of the year, it was very dark and very damp. Over Christmas, they actually painted it, and they painted the walls white and they brightened up the room. The massive amount of difference that had with those lectures at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday was amazing. Like, it was a lot easier to learn, and it was a lot better. So I think teaching rooms have to be of good quality as well. They have to be bright, they have to be easy to hear in as well. So yeah, teaching the quality of the room that you're learning in goes hand in hand with teaching itself.
Thank you. Mary?
I think that the teaching rooms in Surrey are quite nice. I like the environment that we are in, but there's obviously a lot of room for improvement. Like, I had a lecture last week where I was in teaching block, and right next to the room that we were in, somebody was having a music class, and they were like disturbing us the whole way through our lecture. So maybe to do something about that, like not having lectures with musical instruments and a lecture about something else. So there's definitely room for improvement. The environment is really good. The lecture theatre Griffiths has been improved drastically over this time. So I think Surrey could do much better.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on the floor? We've got some around. Here, take a pick.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
In light of the UCU pension cuts, how would you go about advising students who can't go to their lectures because they've been rescheduled at times they can't get to? And also, lecturers are refusing to reschedule lectures. In my view, that's wrong. What do you think about that?
Okay, Joe, get that? You need clarification?
There's 2 parts there.
There was indeed 2 parts.
Yeah.
Sam, you can fire us off now if you like.
I was in, because on a weekly basis I have a meeting with the Director of Studies at the Management School, who is a UCU member, and he was able to talk to me about the reasoning behind it. So I was able to get a real good understanding for why they were, and if anything, there's a fair amount of empathy amongst the students of the courses. So I feel people understand the reasons why the strikes were happening. I don't agree necessarily. I also agree entirely with you that actually we're not rescheduling lectures, because I think actually they made even a commitment in part of our motion that we set as a student union that actually it would be the lecturers who would be aiming to catch up, and the fact that they've said blatantly no, I actually don't really think that's wrong, because it wasn't the student's decision, that it's ultimately decisions that were made beyond the control of the student. As a VP for education, I would definitely go and sort of, I was going to say hunt them down, but I definitely sort of see that, and then actually go to them and sort of speak directly with them and ensure that at least something's done, whether it's stuff on you then. Can I just have a reminder of what the first part of the question was?
Sorry. You're basically getting it on.
I've got rescheduling. Oh, rescheduling when you can't make it. When they reschedule.
So if a lecture is cancelled and then rescheduled at a time that you can't make, because the timetable is made around students' life, they may have a part-time job. If they can't get to that lecture, do they get a refund for their money and funds? Or, you know,
Nice extra bit there.
at the end of the day, it is money.
So,
Who do they go to ask questions?
Well, that's more than I was expecting. Okay, ultimately, because I've actually been involved in situations where beyond the control of the lecturer, it was outside of this remit of the UCU strike, but he had to reschedule it. But I think there's the technology there for which you learn, which soon will be no more because there's a development of you learn. There should be no reason why extra material, supplementary material, a list of reading that. So I don't necessarily think there should be like a refund in such, but I feel like the money's worth of extra material in terms of the accessibility should be put there. Because I think that if 1 hour's teaching can easily be replaced by you going and doing an extra couple of hours of private study. I'm not saying like it's ideal, but given the circumstances, I think, yeah, if you're here to study.
thank you, Marion.
I have forgotten the question a bit, but...
Okay, essentially we've got the issue of the UCU strikes. The strikes about the pension, some lectures were cancelled. What do you think students in that situation? Some of the lecturers are refusing to reschedule work, and if they do reschedule, sometimes it's at times when students cannot go.
Okay. I think that most of the lectures were rescheduled, like in my department at least they were. And as for students not being able to make it to the lectures, I mean, they cannot accommodate to everybody's need because obviously there's like 30 students in a class or more in case of lectures, but so they cannot accommodate to everybody's need, but as they can put up stuff on ULearn and try and help them as much as they can through that rather than refusing to have a lecture at all.
Thank you, James.
This is quite interesting actually because I saw on a video recently, a MADTV video, that one of the members of the UCU actually said to other members not to reschedule lectures. He actually told them not to reschedule the lectures. Now, at a fundamental level, I question the lecturer on their choice of job for a start. Because if you're here for students, you're being a lecturer, you're here to teach students, you understand that in your job description, so I question really your decision to do that.
Well, James, in fairness, and I'm going to stick up for the UCU here, I'm just going to come back on that. Remember, the lecturers will lose more than a day's pay for striking. So that is their issue about not rescheduling, that they have lost a day's pay. So if they then make the work up, then they want that to strike pay back.
Okay, if I can actually finish. I'm sorry, I was going on to the point because this is on the exact same video. They said that they're losing strike pay. The thing that I would say is they have other facilities for this. There's things such as office hours which should be able to be used. Sam mentioned about you can learn outside of lectures. Yes, I do agree with that. But losing an hour of lectures is very different to an hour of home study. It's a different kind of learning, it's a different direction of learning. Even having, say, 15 minutes to be able to go to your lecture in office hours at a different time to go and make up those times because you can't make it because it's been rescheduled, that's really important. So it's part of the wider issue of office hours, really, I think. On top of actually UCU demo, I think they should be rescheduling. If they're rescheduling to a time when a student can't make it, they have to, I think, make other facilities for that. If a student goes up to them and says, I can't make your lecture, I have to go work to pay for my degree and pay myself through it, then I think the lecturer should be saying, okay, I understand that, come see me, if you can't make this office hours, I'll make some other time for you available.
Thank you. Right, some questions from the audience. Oh, we've got one up the back there. And we've got, we'll take one up the back and then we shall go to the VP education.
Thank you, hi guys. I was just wondering what your thoughts might be on lecturers. Obviously the university is a very research-based university, so the lecturers are very much in that field and they might not have the specific presentation skills that it takes to get a message across throughout a university lecture. I was just wondering what you think you guys and the university should be doing to address those lecturers who are less inspiring and can't communicate as effectively as others. Thank you.
Okay.
than what I believe. From having first-hand experience from actually teaching myself and teaching in local schools, I understand the difference in when people are, when they're learning and how they're learning and how to facilitate that. It's really important when lecturers are teaching to understand that there's different students and there's different levels of ability, there's different levels of intake and stuff like that. So that's really core to how you have to teach. What I would like to see is more checks on teaching, and it be easier for students to say, this lecturer isn't teaching very well, can you review their lecture notes, review their teaching time? There is some checks that already exist, but I don't think they're stringent enough in being able to be called on by other students to say, my lecture's not that good.
Thank you. Sam?
Yeah, and again, it's the same as James, it's in my manifesto, it's point F. Frequent and transparent checks in teaching, because from being an academic rep and moving on to becoming like a head rep who meets on a regular basis with the director of studies at the School of Management, and also I'm always being brought attention of situations where the quality of teaching is not there. And I've experienced it myself, where you're being taught by an academic who obviously knows their stuff, but when it comes to communicating with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they just don't really know quite how to do it. And so, bottom line. But what I'd like to implement is some way of getting peer markers, sort of a way of in let's say a buddy scheme, where lecturers are teamed up with people who have been identified as being particularly, and I can think of a few of them in my head right now, where they've really engaged in students, and sort of teaming up and sort of getting checks done where other lecturers go in and sort of sit in, you can speak like sort of being slotted in somewhere at the back, and not always teaching English literature, but definitely in business management, where they can actually check and work together to sort of look at the reason why, look at the presentation style, and ultimately, at the bottom line, to improve the quality. Yeah, and I feel like through me raising the issues, some teachers have already had their teachings checked. They've also had, and I've seen a marked improvement in their presentation style since. So putting that across the board, make it across all faculties would be one of my sort of main charges, main sort of aims for the year if I was to get elected.
Thank you, Sam. Mary?
I agree with both Sam and James. I think that check-ins on lecturers and reviewing their work is really important, and having somebody in the university who can actually go in and sit in on random lecturers and see that they're doing their job properly is really important, because at the end of the day it's just students in the room and they think that that's just how they're going to be taught, especially like I feel that students who are not able to voice their opinion and are scared to not tell on their lecturer, but like kind of report their lecturer that they think that they're not getting the education that they deserve. Other than that, I think got my point.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Right, thank you. Now we're going to hear from Steph, who is the person that we're looking to take over for.
Okay, hi there. Hi there. I've heard quite a lot about, how you're going to be the Vice President of Education. But obviously it's a lot more than that. You're also a company director and a trustee. And a lot of your time is heavily focused on education, but what are you going to bring that's different as a company director and a trustee to the union?
Thank you.
It was interesting to see how the sports guys came up here yesterday and addressed put the issues across. I've got a really heavy invested interest in sport. I feel like I could actually offer a wide range of opinions and either help the incumbent or help new people with my input. I feel like I've got involved in a range of activities here at the university. I've worked here part-time, I've worked on the student union executive. I feel like I've got although not essential, because I know the two guys here haven't been in sitting on the same, well, you have actually. I feel like I've got a good understanding. I feel like I'll be hitting the ground running with the information I've gathered this year. I feel like I'd be someone who could, instead of people coming to me just when they have issues, I'd like people to come here and get engaged in the student union, because they want to. I feel like I could get out there and be, like I said, a friendly face, but I wouldn't just be in the office. I'll be out there and getting people involved, and that's what we want. That's what student union's all about. It's about getting people involved, and I feel like I'll be the right person for the job to do that.
All right, thank you, James.
This is actually on my manifesto. I believe really, like, I hate this term, but it's actually kind of works. Student experience. There is a wider part to being here than a degree, and I believe really keenly on trying to get students to do things outside of their degree that works for them. Not every student can, throw hundreds of hours at an extracurricular. Some can only do so a couple of hours a week. Some don't even know what they can do. So I'm really keen on, as in the wider world of being a sabbatical, is trying to get people to learn outside of their degree and learn for themselves and learn to become better, so that when they go on in life, they're better for it and they're able to learn in the future, learn on the job, etc. To quote someone that I know, if you're here doing a media degree and you're not getting involved in student media, why? I think that's a good example, because if you want to go into media, it's there. It's about telling students that this is available, you can get involved. It's there. I didn't really get that much involved until my second year, because I didn't know it was literally go along, get involved, go, just go there. It's just about telling students that it's there, it's available for you, make use of it.
Like if people are struggling to get out of bed for lectures at 9 o'clock, what sort of means and ways would you do in getting those people who can't even engage in their own education, let alone get involved in it? How would you do that?
Yeah, that's part of what I was saying, and I've actually brought this point to the Vice Chancellor as well. You need to see about students getting involved and knowing about things, because it's all well and all well and good they're being there, but it's about trying to say that you can do this, it doesn't take much time, and showing that you can fit it around what you want to do. Whether it's just simply advertising things at the start better. There's Freshers Fair, some people go along and they think, okay, we go along to join it to look at things and then just leave it, but they don't think so much about what I can do, what I can manage, and what really inspires me to get involved in something. So it's really about trying to get more advertisement out there so that students can find out what would be best for them to do, rather than this is a wider scope saying, hey, there's the union.
Thank you. Marion?
I think being more out there for the union, definitely, because when I came here in my first year, even though I lived in Stag Hill, I didn't even know that these offices existed. I wasn't aware of what was going on in there. So you see the SABs at Freshers Fair, they're out there, all the societies are there, and then after that it's not that much of a presence for them. So I think if I get elected as Vice President of Education, I would make a point to go and see students, be there, so that they know that there are these facilities available for them to use. And other than that, I think being part of STAG, being the editor of the STAG, has made me want to promote student media so much more. MADTV has grown so much this year, and so has YouTube and the STAG. So promoting student media across campus and having students see that there's an opportunity for them that they can take and gain experience out of is just, I can't believe that people don't know about it. So I think that would be very, very important for me.
Okay, you're not going to go too much longer. I did see some questions before. We've got one over there. One there, one over there. Keep the questions brief, and I'm going to ask the candidates to keep their answers brief as well, because there's a few questions coming in, so brevity.
I'm a first year, and as it is, we have very large classes, like 250 plus students, and there's very few places that can accommodate such large classes at the university. There's only, I think, like 3 places that can do it. So the time slots that we get are very narrow because there's so many first year classes. So it ends up for me this term, I have a lot of lessons very late in the day, so I have a lot of lectures at 5 in the evening at 4, which kind of messes up the rest of the day because you only get home at 6, and then you have everything else to do. You have an extra reading, you have everything else.
Okay, can I ask what course you study?
I do biosciences.
Biosciences. So biosciences, you're in a group of 250 students. There's very few lecture theatres that accommodate that, so you end up having lectures at a funny time. Okay, Marion.
I think that that's a problem that the biosciences have been facing for quite a while now, and I will try my best to endeavour to like get you proper times, but sometimes that's just when they can do the lectures, because we do have limited space in our university, and I'm not aware of any plans to make new rooms. So I think I will try and work with the person who makes the timetables and try and get times that are earlier in the day. Or you can just come to uni early, go in the library, study for a bit before your lecture, do your reading before class, and then go to class.
Thank you, Sam. Briefly, if you will.
Yeah, the government quite simply has taken away capital funding from the university, meaning that there will be no new lecture theatres being built in any time soon. So the main issue is with timetabling, and from experience this year, I'm aware that timetabling is done by about 2 or 3 people, and that's it. For every lecture there's about 50 subjects here. So I think the aim is to put the pressure on the people, those 3 people, to sort of, and the pressure on your departments to sort of ensure that they get all the information that they need. So when they're making the timetabling, they're taking into consideration all the factors. And because I'm a business management student, I sit in the lecture theatre, and I know that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock on a Friday evening is in there. So I have your best interest. I'll be pushing for that no matter what. So.
Thank you, James.
I'll just reiterate what Sam said. It's a fact we won't have the money to go build lecture theatres, which is a shame because I think we are quite overcrowded here. So it comes down to using the space that we have, timetabling it better, and making sure that larger groups are put in the white rooms that are there for them, and making sure that people are timetabled effectively. You don't have, say, 20 people in a 100-person room whilst 50 people in a 50-person room, kind of thing. And then also, alongside that, making sure that the times are the best, trying to maximise the use of the best times a day. I think it was quoted that the best time for learning was between 1 and 4 p.m. Students apparently generally like that. So if that was what we found the students here wanted, then we could easily try and maximise use of that time and then branch out around that.
Thank you very much. We had a question over there. You still got one? Lovely.
Yeah, hi. I've been academic director for the first semester, and I've got lots of queries about exam timetable, and I think it's going to have some same problem last semester and probably next year as well. So do you have any plans for that prepared, or just about anything about
Okay, lots of issues about exam timetable. Very briefly, the university have 30 weeks to teach. Previous registrar decided that 10 weeks for exams was too much. The exam weeks were squeezed, which means that some of you were doing 2 exams in a day, some in the evening, some on Saturdays. It did create some problems. On the flip side, there was no time for teaching. I went to company 1 in England, Ghana. James, your views on exam timetable?
One thing that's actually happened this year, which applause to Steph, at Malcolm, we've actually got a new system which means you won't have more than 4 hours in a day, you won't have 2 exams in 48 hours, too many exams in 48 hours. I don't know if this has been publicised yet, and again, exam timetables aren't out yet, but people should really have been told. That's quite important because that means you're going to have more time to get ready for exams. You won't have stupid situations like we had in economics where you could have over half your final degree done in 9 hours and 3 days, which was probably hell. So I think one of the things that we should look to do is bring exam times out earlier. If it's brought out earlier, it's a one-off moving forward, and then you have to accommodate that. So it have to be accommodated basically in the next academic year. But I'd like to see it actually brought forward, even if it's for a week or 2, because then it gives students more time to prepare and kind of move things like part-time work all around their studies and when their exams are.
Alright, thank you. Marion?
I think that working with the examination officer and making sure that there are not too many exams on the same day is really important, because it's unreasonable for a person to have an exam in the afternoon and then have one early the next day. It's really difficult to do the revision as well. So, and I think that possibly, I know that surveys are not the best way to go, but I think having academic reps find out from their departments, from the actual students, what they prefer. Do they prefer exams on Saturdays? If it's spreading them out properly. So finding out what the students want, how they want to have their exams is very important, and that's how I work on it.
Thank you. Sam?
My degree programme means I've got a variety of different assessments. So I think like the changes that can be made to the credit structure, so with most subjects moving to 15 credit modules, should hopefully alleviate, like with assessments, a lot more assessments being done after Christmas and in the summer. There should be like, hopefully from that there should be less exams to fit into such a short period of time, which will mean less assessment at the end of the year. But I'd sort of advocate like the different styles of assessment that I have. In my translation module I have one translation and one exam per semester, and I feel like so you get an idea of marks and how you're progressing during the year, and I feel that's a better way of doing things, so you're actually knowing how you're performing. Whereas like law have a heavily weighted towards the end of the year, and I feel like actually including other types of assessment that are worth more during the year will alleviate the problems that we have. Releasing the timetable earlier, as James said, would also mean that people have the chance earlier to query and hopefully have an impact on moving exams as well.
Thank you. Right, another question.
A lot of this has been said about the new investment made by the students using Skynet. How would you utilise this as VP of Education?
Okay, a lot has been said about the substantial amount of money put into Skynet, which we haven't seen yet. We'll be killing all humans after the Easter holidays. How would you, as VP Education, use that system, Marion?
I'm not that much aware of Skynet and how it works, but as far as I know, it's like a website where you pick and choose which bits you want to see and stuff like that. So I think having Skynet will decrease the amount of spam that we all get, so that's good for all of your inboxes not being filled up with stuff that you don't want to see, and you can just pick and choose whatever you want, so that's a good thing for education. How else would it help?
Don't know. We'll move on to Sam to find out.
Having been as an academic rep this year, innovation has been made in trying to utilise the current SharePoint system to sort of make it very interactive, make sure that that queries within the same faculty, if they arise, if more people are thinking, so it's trying to sort of create a forum base. But with the new Skynet, hopefully what we'll be able to do is pull in all the resources that we have from the academic reps and just make it a one-stop shop. And so and it's more interactive, and so students can get in touch with their academic reps more instantly, and you're going to one place and not having to go to the SharePoint, which was another place to log in, another place in addition to ULearn, another place. So keeping it in the one place just make it easier for academic reps to do their job, really.
All right, thank you very much, James.
I was actually at the we had like a focus group going on Friday. And Bunnyfoot, who's been making Skynet, asked us what do you want? And one of the things I got from the one I was at was everyone wanted the union website to be a one-stop shop, be there for everything that you want, like to either take you to somewhere where it's more useful or actually deal with your issue there. That's the approach I believe in as well. When it's created, I'd like to see there be an actual education page, which is actually use of various things. If you need to go find something out about your course, or if you need to find something out about library support, or if you want to find out the way you can contact your reps, or whether have the form on there where you can actually respond and say, okay, my lecture in so-and-so class had a problem, and that goes directly to your reps inbox. This year we've tried to expand by having things like a text message and phone number. People haven't really used that, so that's showing that doesn't really work, we need to try something else. So I think also with the website, it's also trying to get the university on board to integrate our website with their website, because we're not at odds with each other, we want to work with each other, we want to utilise the education bits in ULearn, which is part of the university, and we want to utilise the easy access and useful website that the uni will have, which a lot of students want to use a lot.
Thank you very much. Now, the conversation on Twitter appears to have turned to how many people are using Malcolm Hunt's power cube. So, I feel that we might be losing the audience somewhere. So, we know educationists have shown us over the years, and the Americans have been really big on this, especially through Sesame Street, that many people could learn through the medium of song. As you're about to become VP Education, and the welfare has got away with this, you are now going to give us a verse or a chorus of your favourite song to educate us all. I'm happy to wait for a volunteer to go first. Surrey doing, Surrey got over with. You can sing away to your heart's content there, James.
Little songs that I love, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven.
That's 11 minutes long.
There's a lady who's sure that in the glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Okay, do I have to sing it? Can they sing it?
That's the general idea. It's up to them. You bring it in.
I'm going to sing Wonderwall. So, are we going to sing together, please? Because baby, you're going to be the one that saves me. And after all, you're a wonderwall.
You've been quite quiet tonight so far, so if I can get another singer on going, we can do Spandau Ballet Gold. Gold, gold. Always believe in your soul. You've got the power to go. You're indestructible. Always believe it, 'cause you are gold.
Close, you know what happens now. I ask you a question, no explanation, no debate, you just give me an answer, which is yes or no. I'm going to start from my left to my right, and the question is, did the University of Surrey make a mistake in taking on the Guildford School of Acting?